What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Save Saturdays. Coming to you from the Save Saturdays studio in Lincoln, Nebraska. Joining me today, as always, Will Reason. Will, how you doing today?
I'm doing great, Ethan. How are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. And also joining us, as always, every episode, Big Bets Benz. Ryan, how you doing?
I'm doing great. Can't complain.
You know, our theme music, that bass drop, it hits.
I think I dab every time, whether I actually know it or not.
You just gotta drop your head into it.
Boom.
Yeah.
Bum, 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 It's good stuff.
Speaking of music, question of the week. Drum roll, please, Ryan.
Why is Will a simp?
No, that is not the question. That's just what's on the outline. Real question is, what is your favorite musical act?
What? What? Musical act?
I love this question.
Well, I didn't want to say like recording artist, because then that's an individual, and I didn't want to say band, because then you exclude individuals. Because I know you guys are a bunch of country losers.
So what is an act then?
It's just it's any of the above.
Just all of the above?
Yeah.
Oh, not like a play?
It could be like a
I thought, yeah. Like I got some Broadway vibes. I was like, I don't know, man.
Like Hamilton?
musical act. Grease.
That's what I thought you were asking for.
No, musical act like
John Travolta.
I like Go Grease Lightning. When they get on top of the car, that's pretty cool.
Okay, hold up. The original Grease or the new Grease?
Definitely
original.
Definitely the original John
Yeah,
Travolta.
the original.
Yeah.
John Travolta's a goat.
Yeah.
I'm glad we agree on that.
There was this one. We watched Grease, the movie, in class senior year, and there was one kid in my class who just simped for Sandy super hard the entire rest of the year. It was the weirdest thing.
Yikes.
Hey, whatever gets you going. What class did you watch that in?
American culture. We just watched movies.
We watched it in music. Every year we would watch a movie, and we watched Grease, I swear, like 3 times.
Well, I also watched it in choir, but that was in middle school, and no one was simping on Sandy in middle school. But
No one knew how to be a simp back then.
that's not the question. That is not your answer. I know it's not your answer. It's probably gonna be like Blake Shelton or,
I mean, I could have a lot of different answers.
Oh my.
Me too.
So we're gonna let you start off since you're
Why?
just so confident.
No, it was Ryan's suggestion to do something musical.
Oh, okay.
So we're doing
Well, then
Ryan.
if it's your suggestion, Ryan, you're up.
All right. I guess any musical act you said?
Yeah, it can be a band. It can be an individual.
do we
it
have
can
to
be
say
a
one?
symphony? It could be the
Like Beethoven?
It could be the
Mozart?
Philharmonic.
It can be the Blue Man Group.
It could be the Pride of all Nebraska.
The Eyes of Texas?
The Eyes
God.
of Texas.
No. All right. I'll go.
It can not be the Spice Girls though.
Oh, no. Alabama. Band.
Banjo music intensifies.
Fiddle.
Dun, dun, dun,
A little bit of
dun,
both.
dun, dun. I'm not gonna lie.
You know,
I'm not-
play me some mountain music. Play
Okay.
me some mountain
Yeah.
music.
Great.
I've
Now
heard a
we're
few of their
demonetized.
I've heard some of their songs.
Right? Or
Okay.
or High Cotton.
I've
Haven't
literally
heard that
I've never heard of this band.
It's pretty
Alabama?
Country. It's pretty old country.
That's probably
Yeah,
why.
It's
I
like
mean,
was it
80s,
like
90s.
Yeah, I was
I
gonna
don't
say.
usually find myself intertwined with trash.
You know,
Oh,
actually,
hey now.
one of my favorite songs by Alabama, Cheap Seats. It's a baseball song. You guys would love it.
The baseball segment's in about 30 minutes, Ryan. So please.
Well,
I'm gonna have to go like scroll through some Alabama
Oh,
now
yeah.
tonight.
Yeah, they're hits. They're all hits.
They are not hits. No offense to Alabama. I'm sure clearly a lot of people like them,
Yeah, so they're hits.
but definitely not mainstream.
Biggest country music band of like all time.
Sorry, are you confusing them with the Soggy Bottom Boys from Oh Brother Where Art Thou?
What?
You've not seen that movie?
No.
No.
That's a great movie.
What
Check it out.
movie?
Oh Brother Where Art Thou?
Oh brother, I've never even
Man,
heard
we
of
are
that.
5 minutes into this podcast and we're already off the rails.
I think this is where people want to listen to.
Whoa.
All right, okay.
What's yours?
Now, do I have to give one answer? Because
If you want to give a top 3, that is acceptable. But if I hear more than 3, I'm gonna
See,
mute your mic.
I don't. Okay, if I'm just gonna
Yeah, we
say
about got a top 10 right there.
I'm about to
See
get
that?
a top 100. I mean, just all-time favorite personality.
I would just like to point out
music.
this is what happens when all country music sounds exactly the same. You get people like Will who are just confused.
That is not true. I mean, I like a lot of kind of music. A lot of kind of. But I mean, I'd say my all-time favorite personality is probably Blake Shelton. And I'm just going to stick with that answer. I knew you'd do that because if you didn't know that, I'd have been very upset.
Sure.
I'm just going to stick with that answer. Else.
How about Old Red?
Oh,
Like
yeah.
the-
Oh,
or
yeah.
Austin?
Oh, yeah.
I think those are his
favorite
biggest
country
hits.
music song of all time.
Yeah.
Austin by Blake
Yeah.
Shelton. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Big time.
Did you say "Oh Red"?
Old Red.
Red. Old Red.
Old Red.
It's about a dog.
Like an old red.
Old Red.
It's about a dog named
Okay.
Old Red.
Okay. I thought you said for a second. I thought you said Lil Red. I'm like, what does this have to do with the mascot of Nebraska, the creepy child mascot from the '90s? My favorite band is the greatest musical ensemble ever created, Mumford and Sons.
Yeah, I
Uh-huh.
knew that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I was pounding the table about it like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Not bad. I
Good
mean, they have
stuff.
like one mainstream hit.
Yeah, just one.
yeah, I'll give you that. But to me,
I
they're,
will
to me,
wait. I will wait for you. After that, I don't have a clue.
all the other ones after that are bangers. They have like 50 songs that they've released. Bangers, all of them.
Didn't you were making fun of Ryan? You started saying banjo music intensifies, but every time I hear Mumford and Sons, it's just like hardcore banjo music.
Yeah.
It's like they've never heard of a guitar. There's like no
They have a
banjos
guitar in every
only.
song.
I think
Yeah.
they're just
They have-
banjos.
they had
just
a-
strictly banjos.
Their first two albums featured a banjo heavily. Yeah, I'll give you that.
Yeah.
But they do not heavily feature. The guitar is more identifiable than the banjo. I'd say the piano maybe is even more identifiable.
Keyboard.
I don't know about that. I'm gonna have to go scroll through some Mumford and Sons.
I mean, piano might be a cold take, but
I appreciate you guys both went pretty. I don't know. Oh, Alabama in the '80s was. I'd say now, pretty not mainstream.
Sure. I
I
mean,
respect
they're
it. Y'all
getting
went
older.
deep. Y'all went deep. Because like, okay, Alabama was mainstream in the '80s, but like now,
Now it's like Luke Combs.
it's like older. So like people, not a lot of people know about it.
Yeah.
And you just went straight off the wagon wheels into UK.
I like Darius Rucker.
Boom.
No, Darius Rucker didn't create that song.
I know.
It was covered. I think it's a bluegrass group.
It's got like an Indian tribe name in it. I think.
What? Who wrote Wagon Wheel or what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Old Crow Medicine Show.
That's
Yeah,
right.
yep,
That's right.
Yep.
Old Crow.
Old Crow
Is that
Medicine
it?
Show. Yeah.
Okay, I guess you learned something.
So for choir one day we had to learn Wagon Wheel in a single day. We'd finished. Actually it was like a week, but it felt like a single day. We'd finished all of our concerts for the year. We had a week left of school, and our teacher was like, I invited these people to come listen to us sing, but we're not going to sing the song we just spent like 3 months learning.
Oh no.
We're going to learn this song called Wagon Wheel, and that was when it was all popular.
You remember the first line?
I do not.
Heading
Down the coast. Yeah.
down.
I can't sing
Heading
anymore.
down south
This
to
was
the
in-
land of the pines.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was in middle school when I can't sing anymore. But she's like, yeah, I invited some people to listen to us sing, and we're gonna learn this song. And then the first 2 days were spent learning the history of the song and about Old Crow Medicine Show, and I think we spent more time listening to other music by them.
Wait, so you guys had to sing that for choir?
Yeah,
How many people are in this like choir?
I was probably 40 kids.
So you have 40 kids? Like I can't imagine them singing Wagon Wheel by Darius Rucker.
Yikes.
It's like, rock me, mama, like a wagon
It wasn't a gospel
wheel.
choir. It wasn't a gospel
Rock
choir.
me, mama, anyway.
Well,
you feel. I mean, that's just all I envision in my head. Like, how does that?
It's a middle school
I
choir.
don't know
What
how
else?
that works.
We were up tempo.
No.
Y'all were, up,
we-
y'all were,
Off key though, probably.
yeah.
Oh, it was a middle school choir. What do you expect?
Exactly.
Rock me, mama. That was Ethan in the back.
Actually, I did have a really high voice in middle school.
Let's go play some baseball.
Probably.
All that.
Though I'd already quit
That's a
baseball.
Family Guy
I quit
reference.
baseball in 5th grade. So
Oh,
baseball was behind me at that point.
you got really uncool in 5th grade. Then
Yeah, we
you
can't all,
quit baseball.
we can't all be as cool as the 19-year-old who goes back and coaches his JV baseball
Exactly.
team.
Exactly. Now we're just shooting shots.
Hey, you want to take shots at me?
I didn't take a
shots
shot.
at
Okay,
you.
I did actually. I did take
Yeah,
a
you
shot at you.
did.
Okay,
You did.
we haven't shot at Ryan yet.
No.
Well,
What do you got?
He sucks at betting.
What-
He just lost,
Wow.
he just lost $5. Some golfer I've never heard of.
John Rahm?
Was not leading after one round, and he missed out on $135 on a $5.
just-
I like how we
Three
both hit each
strokes
other with
back.
like deep shots from our childhood, and we just look at Ryan, and he's just like, "Well, Ryan sucks."
at betting.
That was low.
That was low.
Yeah.
Low blow.
Yeah. Really hurting my feelings over here.
I brought you onto my podcast.
He's gonna
to
go
talk
grind
gambling.
now. He's gonna go do so much studying and make like a freaking $100,000, and he's not gonna give it to you to buy an RV
Or equity.
or equity.
Well, I didn't offer equity, so I appreciate you respecting my decision.
All right, should we talk about sports, or are we just gonna keep going down this pop culture?
Well, I'm
tunnel?
actually going to ask you about another thing and see if you guys liked it.
Okay, yeah, let's keep this going.
It was possibly the first ever time it's definitely the first time I've ever experienced Tuesday night football.
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
See,
definitely.
it was sports.
it was sports.
Yeah. Featuring the.
I thought you were gonna come back with like, so
music.
like your favorite movie.
No.
That's just an impossible
We'd be
question.
completely off the rails.
Any movie with Tom Hanks.
Any movie?
Bridge of
Okay,
Spies is a good one.
That is a good movie.
All right, continue. Sorry.
I'm a little Star Wars question mark.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Never seen.
Star Wars Empire Strikes Back,
I've
favorite movie all time.
Never seen a Star Wars movie.
That's
Not
Okay,
a
so I
single
have a
one.
hot take that we can discuss at a later time.
Star
but
Wars or
Solo
Star Trek?
is the best
Star Wars
movie
versus Star
ever.
Trek.
Star Wars, hands down. I've never seen Star Trek, so I guess I can't.
Neither
really
have I. So I can't.
Okay.
I'm not a part of any
All
of
right,
this.
Tuesday night football. Bills, Titans. Titans shellacked the Bills. And last episode, we came at the Titans and we said, you just have to follow some stupid COVID guidelines.
That's
We
right.
want to see you. And this is why we want to see them on the field. Because they're a good football team.
Yeah,
Derrick
they're
Henry
a really good football team.
Is the best back in the NFL. Made
That's stiff arm, though.
Josh Norman
Yeah.
look like a clown.
What's up?
Talk about falling off of a cliff in your career.
He should just retire. Like, he should
Yeah.
be done. Like, you're just done.
He had 1 year. He was the greatest thing to ever touch the earth. And do you know where he went to college, Ryan?
Florida State. I don't know.
Josh
No,
Norman.
what?
Josh Norman.
Yeah. Wait, Josh Norman?
Since
Yeah.
you asked Ryan specifically, so I feel like it's Texas.
No.
Oh, maybe not.
Josh Norman.
We were talking about it before the show.
You're looking
I
at
feel like it's on the West Coast.
it's Florida State.
No, we talked about it before the show. Coastal Carolina. He was a chant to clear.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
But
no wonder he got lit up.
Yeah, facts. The college coaches saw the lack of talent, and Rivera created something out of nothing for a single season. Got into a fight with Odell Beckham Jr. and has been
That
horrible.
fight with
since
Odell
the
was
fight.
like the top of his career.
He was the hottest thing since sliced bread on ESPN for a week, and then I think he followed it up with probably the worst game I've ever seen in my life, and it's just been downhill from there.
You know what Josh Norman reminds me of? Like Tyrann Mathieu. He was what Matthew almost became if he wouldn't have gone to the Chiefs. Had like one great year and just like died off in Houston, but then he just went to Kansas City and just like found the perfect situation.
Oh, I
Josh
thought-
Norman needed his Kansas City to like continue his career.
I
He
thought
never found it.
you were trying to say that Tyrann Mathieu was worse than Josh Norman.
Oh no,
he's been
Tyrann Mathieu's
solid. What
much
are you
better. He's been
saying?
much better. But I meant like if he would have stayed in Houston, his career probably would have turned out like Josh Norman's, but it didn't because he went and found his Kansas City.
But yeah, thank
Anyway,
you.
we keep going off
Thank
on
you
like
to the
random
Titans.
things.
Thank you to the Titans. You were able to compete in a game, and that's what we wanted to see.
That's
We
it,
wanted to see some
exactly.
good power run from Derrick Henry, some staunch defense. Make Will look like a fool for saying Josh Allen was a top
I
three
was ready for this.
quarterback.
I don't feel
we're
like a
not
fool,
there- we're
but
not
we'll
there.
talk about it in a second. Can I just talk about the Titans real quick though?
Go ahead.
And
Go
I
ahead.
just want to give some praise to Ryan Tannehill. The guy has been an absolute monster this season. A guy that has been absolutely trashed for the past 2 years. I like the guy in Miami. I was always a big fan of his, but he was in a horrible situation. He got moved. He found a good place in Tennessee. Last year, people just said he was good at handing it off. But right now, he has better stats than Patrick Mahomes. So I don't want to hear it from anyone. Ryan Tannehill he is a franchise quarterback now.
You need to qualify that stat you just quoted because it's been since he took over as the starter that he's been the better quarterback. So
In Tennessee, yeah.
right.
Well, I mean, are you going to go back and count his Miami days.
No,
I'm talking about like now. I mean, I'm just saying the way Tannehill's performing now, I could see him walking on a football field and beating any quarterback in this league.
Well, I'm saying it's even
like if the Titans match up with the Packers, I could see the Titans beating the Packers.
Well, I was just saying it was an even more notable stat because it's been over a longer period of time than just like a season, like just the 4 games we've seen.
It was like over 14 games.
Yeah.
That stat was talking about, and Tannehill's they weren't like better, but they were comparable. Like they were really close.
He had a better rating, QB rating.
Tannehill did?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. Like everyone's overhyped. I think Mahomes is a little overhyped right now. He's definitely not playing like the best quarterback in the league. He's not playing like he's worth $400 billion, $1,000 trillion. Like he's getting paid. But I mean, he's still special. But the difference is he just has so many more weapons. And again, Ryan Tannehill has Derrick Henry to just truck people. So
Ryan Tannehill, Ryan Benz. Where's Ryan Benz thinking he's going to go to grad school? Texas A&M. Where did Ryan Tannehill go? Texas A&M.
Coincidence?
Do you know that Ryan Tannehill started off as a receiver?
Wide receiver, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know that
Hey,
Nebraska played Texas A&M when Ryan Tannehill was the quarterback at Texas A&M?
Yeah.
And the refs freaking sucked in that game.
But wasn't Tannehill splitting reps with someone? There was another quarterback.
I don't know. All I remember from that
Wasn't
game
that we lost
is that
12-9?
The refs cost us that game.
Isn't that when we lost 12-9?
Yeah, we did lose. We would have won the national championship that year if we hadn't got screwed against Texas A&M, and we played poorly against another team.
Was the score 12-9 or 9-6? It was like a 3-point game. Like it was a weird score.
It was probably 9-6.
It was stupidly low scoring. Nebraska was like a top 15 at least team.
Well, yeah, was that
10.
the year we lost Texas too, or was it Oklahoma that we lost in
It
Big
was
12
it was the
championship?
Texas or Oklahoma year.
Yeah,
I think
so
it was the
2
Oklahoma
games.
year.
If it wouldn't have been for the 2 games, I think we go undefeated or at least 1 loss. And if we win that championship game, which we were winning in, so we should have won, BCS Bowl. And you know whose job gets saved? Bo Pelini. But I know we're gonna talk about Bo Pelini later, so I won't say anything more.
He's not on the outline, but we can go ahead and add him.
I mean, if we're gonna talk, I know what you really want to talk about Tom Herman. So if we're gonna talk about coaches that are failing right now, I think you just have to talk about Bo Pelini.
You better believe I want to talk about Tom Herman.
But that's later. That's later.
Yes.
But no, I just wanted to praise. I just want to let everyone know Ryan Tannehill is elite. He is elite. Write that down. Quote me.
You brought up 2 Chiefs in that last segment. Tyrann Mathieu, Patrick Mahomes. Let's talk about the newest Chief, Le'Veon Bell.
He actually is.
Just
announced.
Breaking news.
Yes. I mean, it'll be old news by the time this podcast comes out, but for us, it's breaking news, guys. We're recording on a Thursday. Le'Veon Bell just signed with the Chiefs. I was gonna have us talk about where we think we would like to see him best.
Right.
Well, let's just talk about how's he gonna fit in Kansas City? Is he gonna work there? What does this mean for Clyde Edwards-Helaire?
I'm not a real big fan of it. I mean, it's given me LaShawn McCoy vibes when he went to Kansas City. Like he's a big name and like he's great, but it just
there was no denying that
like
LaShawn McCoy was past his prime.
Well, yeah, I'm not trying to argue that they're at the same time, but it was like I think he'll be as effective as LaShawn McCoy was. I would have much rather have seen him gone to Buffalo, just because that's more his brand of football. His time in Pittsburgh, it was a very nitty gritty, pound the football, Big Ben. Play action, throw it over the top to Antonio Brown, and that's kind of what I liked in Buffalo. Big defense, cold weather, pound the football with Le'Veon Bell, make him a big part of the offense, which he wasn't in New York. And I think because he's a guy that you got to give him the ball 20 times a game for him to be effective. Mm-hmm. He's not a guy that's going to get – you can't give him 10 carries and expect him to do much. Like he's a ground and pound guy. In Kansas City, they got a guy that can catch the ball in Helaire. I just don't think – that's their style of football is the ground and pound kind of stuff. So I don't know. I just don't think the relationship's going to work out great.
I would have liked to see him in Miami personally because I feel like that would have
been fun.
Yeah, that would have just been really cool. That's where he spent his off year when he didn't play. He was down in Florida.
As a Patriots fan, I'm glad he didn't.
Chilling on the jet ski. But
either way, I'm getting screwed.
Yeah, I also think that would have been the best place for him to go for a production standard. Like if he wanted to get right back into the free agent market, prove himself for a year, that would have been the best place to go.
If he's trying to become a Hall of Famer, put up stats and make money, Kansas City was not the place. But I think he's just ring chasing.
Well, he just went to a place that's already has a glut of weapons. Mm-hmm. Tyreek Hill, Mecole Hardman, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Damian Williams. He's still the Super Bowl. He didn't win Super Bowl MVP.
He should have won Super Bowl MVP. But Goodell and Mahomes are in.
Save it for
Boston.
Save it for Boston bias, Ryan. Will.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I was gonna say Bill. Save it for Boston bias. But Damian Williams, he had a great Super Bowl.
Great season. He was pretty good running back your whole year.
Why do they hate him all of a sudden? He's not going to get a touch.
Williams left all for season because of COVID.
Yep.
He opted out. So
Well,
I mean, he wasn't never going to play.
Well, he's still on the roster.
Well, yeah, but he wasn't going to play though.
I feel like Bell was. He must be on a cheap deal. I don't know if the Ryan, can you look up the
It
contract?
has to be. How do the Chiefs have money?
There's no way that they have enough
There's
money.
no way they're paying him a lot.
It's got to be a 1 year like minimum, like maybe like
Which Bell will-
$5 million.
Bell
doubt
will
it's
take
out,
because
yeah.
it's a ring. I mean, he's already gonna get it. He's already made a crap ton of money. Now he's gonna go to Kansas City for what, a year, make minimum. He doesn't care about the money. He just wants to go get that ring. So I mean, yeah. I mean, he'll prove himself and go sign a big deal somewhere else.
Yeah,
I mean, it's enough to make you want to just scream an expletive.
If you're in the AFC, yeah. I would love to right
Patriots
now.
fan,
I would
perhaps.
love to.
Say-
But wait to Boston bias
Yes.
because I'll scream a few.
If you guys want to hear Will uncensored, check out our R-rated show, or M. I think it's M.
Mature rated.
Rated M for mature. Check out that show.
But
It's a great time.
just really quick, also about the Le'Veon Bell thing.
Can you give us a preview of the drink of the week real quick while we're waiting
That's
on
a
the
surprise. You don't get to know.
Oh, that's bull.
I will say it is the drink of choice of the guest, Mason Roth. He is bringing it.
There's the tease we were looking for. Mason Roth joining the show.
Joining the show. We're going to talk about the Celtics, and he's bringing his drink of choice.
Ryan says no contract has been released yet. No
it
contract
just says a
details.
1 year deal. I'm not
1
saying
year.
any
So
prices.
it is a prove it deal.
And I just want to say, in terms of Patrick Mahomes, how this affects him. If he doesn't win a Super Bowl this year, that hurts his legacy hard. I'm sorry, but if with Le'Veon Bell, this team he has right now, I don't look at any quarterback in the history of NFL. I don't think they've ever had it, aside from like Terry Bradshaw and like Joe Montana. I don't think there is a team that had quarterback that had a better supporting cast ever.
So if
Tom Brady, I don't think even in 08, when Tom Brady had the best of the best, this Chiefs team is much better than that 08 team.
I don't think you can say that.
Drew Brees, Peyton Manning never had this
if
supporting
he goes
cast.
out-
This is ridiculous.
If he goes out and wins 4 more Super Bowls, no one's gonna go, yeah, but in 2020, the COVID shortened year, he had great weapons and he couldn't put it together. I don't think anyone's gonna care. So I don't think that. I don't think this is gonna be a black mark on his record.
Maybe not a black mark, but I mean, if he does win a Super Bowl, and everyone's like, oh my gosh, Patrick Mahomes is so
I think it's gonna be a
amazing. I'm going to
huge-
look back and be like, are you kidding me? He had the best freaking NFL roster I've ever seen in my life. That offense was loaded. The defense is not trash anymore. It's actually average.
Well,
he has one of the best offensive play callers ever. Like, I'm sorry, Patrick. You're talented. You're great. But, like, no quarterback has had this much help.
Well, if the Chiefs end up winning the Super Bowl, make sure you guys tune into Boston Bias for the next 3 episodes because people will be saying that Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback alive.
Well, those people are unintelligent, so I don't care about
Will
them.
will be going bananas.
Well, they're unintelligent, so I don't really care.
You don't associate. You don't.
There are people that think Drew Brees is the greatest quarterback of all time. So, I mean, I don't associate with those people. I don't bring myself down.
No sense dirtying your shoes with those kinds of
Honestly,
filth.
yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Watch Ryan's like, I thought Drew Brees was the greatest quarterback of all time.
No, I just know he holds the most
Passing yards. He holds a lot of records. He does.
and
Well, when you play
touchdowns,
for
right?
500 years, like Brian Hoyer has.
Yeah.
22, right?
Drew Brees.
Yeah.
I'm not sure on the length of his career, but it's been a very long NFL
Yeah,
career.
very long.
And
Yeah.
you know,
He was also in a pass-happy offense.
yeah, you're gonna put together a lot of stats.
Yeah. They've never really been a run kind of offense.
Yeah.
Not even with Alvin Kamara.
Right.
Well,
Or
he's
Reggie-
not really. He's not like a
or Reggie Bush.
run. Yeah,
Right.
Reggie
They
Bush
used
kinda
him
sucked.
more of like a swing route pass
Yeah,
catcher.
he's more of a
running
pass.
back.
He's like a McCaffrey kind of guy. Like he's
They
just
have-
gonna catches passes, 800-yard rushing.
They have a serviceable up the middle back with Latavius Murray, so there's no excuse to not run in New Orleans.
Oh no, but they just don't want to. That's just not their brand.
Speaking of quarterbacks, if you guys tuned in last week to Safe Saturdays or Boston Bias, you would have heard Will spout some questionable takes. You guys like that little S at the end there? Of note, Josh Allen above Lamar Jackson at number 3,
And Patrick.
and Patrick Mahomes. Only beat out by Aaron Rodgers and Russell Wilson. Will claimed that he was not taking any past seasons into account when he said that. Well, now we have another game of
purely
tape
2020.
on Josh Allen. So clearly he is not a top 3 quarterback anymore.
Okay,
Right, Will?
can I defend myself?
Right, Will?
I am not ashamed of that pick, and I still stand by that pick because are you going to sit here and say, "Oh, we watched Josh Allen lose a game. Are we going to drop him out of the ratings?" I just watched Patrick Mahomes lose a game. I watched him play against the Patriots. That Patriots game was awful. If you watch that game, Patrick did not play
You
well.
want to know who didn't lose? Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did lose a game. All 3 teams have a loss.
No, he didn't lose last week.
No, but he does have a loss. And the Titans are no pushover. I think we know that now. They're a legit Super Bowl contender.
So
in
clearly
the
Ryan
AFC.
Tannehill's top 3. Ryan
Ryan
Tannehill
Tannehill
is top 3.
I never said that. Okay, to back up my Josh Allen stance, I'm taking the whole year into account. He had one bad game, and I don't even think he really had a bad game. He still has a higher passer rating this regular season than Patrick Mahomes. He has more passing yards than Patrick Mahomes. He has one more touchdown pass than Patrick Mahomes. He has 3 picks. Mahomes has 1. So, Mahomes got him there. He has a higher completion percentage than Patrick Mahomes by 7%. Almost pushing. He is at 69.3% completion percentage to Mahomes' 63%. And Mahomes has only 4 more pass attempts.
Shocking.
And so, do I think Josh Allen is still better than Mahomes this season? Yes, I do. Does Josh Allen have the greatest offense in the league? No. Does Josh Allen have the best coach in the league right now in Andy Reid?
No.
No, he does not.
Sean McDermott's pretty good.
He is pretty good.
Probably the coach of the year this year right now. This can be between him and Vrabel. Or LaFleur.
Vrabel? I would say LaFleur is I would say LaFleur is in it.
Yeah.
I think did he win last year, LaFleur? Because they won't give it to the same guy twice.
Did Shanahan win it?
Thank you, Ryan.
Ryan's on it.
Ryan is on it.
It might have been LaFleur. It was LaFleur or Shanahan.
I just don't feel like LaFleur's going to get as much credit because we know what his quarterback is. And so people are going to put 50% like, oh, yeah, Aaron Rodgers. That's just Aaron Rodgers being Aaron Rodgers. That's not play calling or anything like that.
John Harbaugh.
John Harbaugh. Okay, that makes sense. But
I guess. So LaFleur and Shanahan
I would
both
say
still in it.
Vrabel and McDermott are probably the leaders in the clubhouse.
I mean,
right now.
McDermott is he's a good coach, but he is not on the level of Andy Reid at all. Andy Reid, okay, in the AFC, you have Bill Belichick. You have Andy Reid pushing into the Belichick. He's almost into the Belichick tier. Like, not really. He's like right below Belichick. He's almost there. And then you got everyone else, like McDermott. Ethan's having I don't know what's happening. A heart attack, seizure.
The absolute horridity of that take. Just
that Bill Belichick's better coach than Andy Reid?
No, that.
Well, then what is...
Andy Reid has coached for like 27 years, and he's got 1 Super Bowl.
Yeah, he does. How many does McDermott
He's
have?
a good offensive mind.
He's a great offensive mind.
Probably one of the best
He's still one of
ever.
the best coaches of all time. His defense is not great, but he's still one of the best coaches
His body of work
of all
is
time.
good, but I wouldn't say like right now he's one of the greatest coaches.
Have you seen the plays he draws up?
You like to use the
Have
weapons.
you seen the plays he draws up?
You like to use the weapons against Patrick Mahomes. Let's use the weapons against Andy Reid. I could drop a great offense for Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, Patrick Mahomes.
Well, it's true. I mean, it all goes hand in hand. It's just like
Le'Veon
Brady and
Bell.
Belichick. It's like Brady and Belichick. Who gets more credit? It's the same thing.
Well,
And I think everyone takes a 50-50 share. I mean, you can't do one without the other. That's how you win. That's how you win Super Bowls. You have to have
But
a
I'm
team.
looking at a
You have
guy,
to have a
Sean
full
McDermott,
team.
who's doing more with less.
I mean, does he have less
Yes.
than the Kansas City Chiefs? He does have less. But
They're-
I think Josh Allen, I don't take away from Josh Allen. I think Josh Allen's been great this season because someone actually has to throw the football. I'm trying to defend my man Josh Allen.
that's respectable.
He has better stats
I
than
just
Patrick
don't-
Mahomes. He has aside from the coach,
Not as many offensive.
he does not have as many offensive weapons,
I'm gonna be real honest with you. I thought I was
and he plays in Buffalo.
pretty high on Josh Allen. I like Josh Allen, but top 3, no.
I just read you the stats, so
Fringe top 5.
I just read you the stats. So I mean, are you
Fringe top
gonna
five.
disagree with the numbers?
I can agree with that.
Stats don't tell the whole story.
You're right.
Turn
But
on
the Bills are 4-1.
turn on
The Chiefs
tape.
are 4-1. So they both have the same record. So not only do the stats tell the story that Josh Allen's top 3, the team record tells the story. Everything's telling the story right now.
If
fact
you
that
turn on
Mahomes
the
has a
t-
better
turn on the tape.
the fact
turn on
that
the
he has
tape,
better weapons than Josh Allen also tells the story.
I like how we're arguing that Ethan thinks he's a fringe top 5 and Will says he's a top 3.
We
I
both
mean,
think
we're
he's good.
arguing over 2 positions here.
They're very big.
This is like life or death.
To be a top 5 quarterback,
Other than a top 3.
no one remembers the 6th best quarterback. Everyone remembers the top 5.
So, but in both of your scenarios, you have Josh Allen in the top 5.
Yeah.
No, I said he was fringe top 5. I just said he was.
Okay,
6th.
who do you have? Who do you have above him then? If he's not even barely top 5.
Russ Wilson.
Russ Wilson. Hang on, Russell Wilson.
Russell,
Patrick Mahomes.
Russell Wilson, Aaron Rodgers, Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson.
That one. I need to make more Star Wars references apparently.
Right.
Jordan Love. I'm just kidding.
Okay.
Tom
okay.
Brady. Tom Brady. He's not looking very good this year, but
You have Tom Brady above Josh Allen
I do.
this season, 2020. Okay, you want to call me Boston bias? Looking at
That's
this
Tampa
season,
bias. That's
2020,
Tampa bias.
2020, Josh Allen has been a better quarterback than Tom Brady. I'm man enough to say that.
I could argue Cam Newton's been better than Josh Allen.
Oh, okay. Now
But I don't want
You're
to.
just kind
I
of
don't want
ridiculous.
to, 'cause
That
I
was
like
a pretty
Josh Allen.
ridiculous thing. You see, you're already backtracking that because you know that was a pretty terrible thing to say.
I said I could argue, but I'm not going to because I like Josh Allen. You just like him too much. I'm concerned.
Why would I
about
love
you.
Josh Allen too much? I play him twice a year in the AFC East. I hate the Bills. I absolutely hate the Bills. Not as much as the Jets. We'll talk about the Jets later. But I hate the Bills. I don't want to have to
We're
love
gonna
Josh
talk about
Allen.
the
But
Jets right now.
being
We're talking about
unbiased,
the
Josh
Jets
Allen
right
is
now.
great.
We're talking about the Jets right now.
We
They
are?
cut
Okay.
Le'Veon Bell. He's already on the Chiefs. But what's the deal? What is the problem? I already know what Will's answer is going to be. I'm going to guess it right now. The problem in New York for the Jets is Adam
the
Gase.
worst head
Yes.
coach in NFL history.
And I know last week we are going to talk about, who's like after Bill O'Brien got fired with Houston, and we're supposed to talk about who's next. I was going to bring up Adam Gase. I was going to say he's the next guy. He's on the hot seat.
The Texans want to be better. Adam Gase is the worst head coach in NFL history.
Agreed.
He is horrible. Though I didn't know him before Miami, but they were rebuilding and they were on an uphill trend. Not a very steep one, but it was going uphill. And then Adam Gase just took a knife and just stabbed all the wheels and just became just a bus off the road into a train like the meme, and it just exploded in thin air, and then a nuclear bomb dropped on it. And that's the Miami Dolphins after Adam Gase. That's why they got rid of him. And now they got rid of Adam Gase. Now, suddenly, they're good again. What'd the Jets do? They were actually decent. They had Darnold, who was not great, but he was all right. The Jets were all right. They could win some games. Adam Gase goes there. They can't even win a freaking football game now. Everyone on the team hates him. They've all said this when they leave there. Jamal Adams can tell you that no one likes Adam Gase. The dude is just terrible. That's my piece.
Ditto.
Well, I certainly agree that Adam Gase is a problem, probably the biggest problem. But I don't think it's an exceptionally talented roster either. So I think that's probably why he's not fired now. If they had a bunch of Pro Bowl caliber players and high payroll like the Texans, he would be gone by now. He's not doing them any favors.
Jamal Adams.
He's not there anymore.
Yeah, because Adam Gase.
Yeah,
Sam Darnold.
But he didn't
He was not all-star, but he's notable.
Okay, if we're gonna knock him for losses,
Gone.
Le'Veon Bell. Is
we're knocking
Le'Veon
him-
Bell an all-star? Who was the receiver? William? Or was it Anderson? Robbie Anderson? Pro Bowl receiver. Left. 3 Pro Bowlers have all left that squad since Adam Gase got there.
I don't
think that's a coincidence.
Frank Gore.
Frank Gore.
I wasn't
Pro
saying.
Bowler.
I wasn't saying that we should forgive Adam Gase for costing the Jets those players.
Okay, I'm going to add
I
on.
was just saying their losses are pretty.
I'll agree
It's
with-
obvious that they're losing because they have a terrible roster. And
I'll agree with you.
Coach.
Before, when they even had those 3 guys, they were still terrible. They were not a good team. But like the Miami Dolphins, Gase showed up and took a really bad situation and just made it horrible and just unbearable.
Yeah. What I'm saying is, I asked what the problem in New York was, and the biggest problem is Adam Gase, but right behind that is a horrible roster. I like Darnold. I like their tight end. I like Jamison Crowder. But Marcus May is maybe their fourth best player. Has he made a Pro Bowl?
Okay, just like Adam Gase though, they had Robbie Anderson, who was a Pro Bowl receiver. They had a decent little core there with Le'Veon Bell, and Gase drove him out.
Right.
So I mean, that's what I'm saying. Their horrible roster, that's on Gase.
You got me all wrong right now. You think I'm defending Adam Gase?
I'm not. I know you're not. But you're saying that the roster was horrible. I'm saying it was horrible because of Gase.
Right.
All these minor problems that you're describing, they were all caused by the big problem, Adam Gase. You can see me. I'm like chef cook.
I actually think it has more to do with their drafting because you look at a couple of their drafts and
I thought Quinnen Williams was a good pick.
They drafted Ja'Kai Polite.
I thought Quinnen Williams was a good pick.
And he didn't even make it to the regular season. They cut him in training camp.
I'm not trying to defend the Jets, but so.
How about Lamar Jackson out of Nebraska?
Well, they signed him. Like, dude's career is pretty much already over because he's on the Jets.
Did it ever start?
Yeah, he's actually on the active roster now. They called him up from the practice squad for 2 games, and then they just decided to sign him to the active roster.
I'd like to see him play.
Boom. He got a.
I'm surprised you didn't say Sam Darnold was a problem. Don't you hate Darnold?
I like Darnold.
Was that Mason? That's Mason that hates Darnold. I like Sam Darnold. I think he's all right if you get him a good team. Ryan does not like Sam Darnold.
Wherever you put him, whoever coaches him, he's not got the talent.
I saw a little alert come in from ESPN, and they said possible trades, and the top one that they were like teasing you about was Sam Darnold to the Colts ? And I was like, I could like that. I mean,
he's basically like a young Phillip Rivers.
And is this isn't Phillip Rivers last year, is it?
He signed for 2 years, but he signed a 2-year contract. But after this year, there's like an opt-out clause. But whatever it is, he already agreed to be the high school football coach at the high school in his hometown. So he's already like
he's committed.
He's Clint Boyered it and planned something before he's even done.
So loving it, love that NASCAR analogy.
Yeah. I mean. Going to Clint
Never
Boyer.
thought I'd see the day. We'd take a football and make a NASCAR analogy.
Clint Boyer going to the Fox booth after the season ends.
Retiring full time.
Yep. Phillip Rivers already got his
So Clint Boyer is more like a Tony Romo, realistically.
Right. But I'm just comparing that they have plans lined up before they're even done competing. But I would love to see. I think that his game is more similar to Peyton Manning. I'm not saying he's going to be as good as Peyton Manning. I'm just saying it's more similar to Peyton Manning. Yeah. I think that they could love.
Well, everyone always knocked Darnold because of his turnovers, but it's like everyone forgets Peyton Manning broke the rookie interception record. That dude, his first 3 years was not great because he had a horrible supporting cast in Indianapolis, and you've built some pieces around him, and now he's like a fringe top 5 quarterback. Whatever that means.
Darnold, first 3 years haven't been good. Similarities.
That's what I'm saying. Hey, if you
otherworldly, get him to Indy. He's already surrounded by talent because they have Jonathan Taylor. Shameless plug.
Nah, bring Taylor to the Jets. And actually, don't. As a Patriots fan, I hope that doesn't. Get him a better coach. It all starts and stops with Gase.
Yep.
And we got a minute left. Fantasy football update. I beat Ryan this week. Other than that. All my teams are struggling from injury, and I suck. Ryan, how you doing?
Well,
all my teams.
I mean, I lost to you, so that was pretty heartbreaking. But yeah,
I picked up Chase Claypool in both my leagues.
It's probably a good pickup.
Okay, yeah. I did. Man, I've been picking different defenses every week, but I picked up Dolphins for this week against the Jets, so that should hopefully be a solid
good one. Then I picked up Fitzmagic. Because
nice.
Here's a fantasy update. Both leagues I had Dak Prescott as my starter.
No.
So I'll just let you know. So I picked up Fitzmagic.
That's a great pickup.
Yeah, until he also gets hurt.
And then it's just Tom Brady and Daniel Jones riding me. So.
Daniel Jones. That you were high on him from the start.
Oh yeah, I think I had him. Did I have him as sleeper?
I don't know if you said it on the podcast, but you.
But he was my sleeper, and he's not been great. I thought he was going to go off. He was my Daniel Jones was your Drew Lock. We kind of had the same. Okay,
but Drew Lock got hurt, and he was looking all right.
Well, I know, but I'm saying we both were like these two young dudes, haven't proved a lot. We both assumed they'd go off. They were kind of our quarterback sleepers.
You know who's been going off? Gardner Minshew.
No, he's not.
Minshew Magic.
Yep. My guy.
You guys both love him, but
mustache guy. As you can see, I'm kind of trying to match his mustache.
Ben's Magic.
Yep. growing my own mustache.
Ryan
out here.
Bent's magic. Boom.
There
For
we go.
more, for
there
more,
we go.
For
We can
more
just keep
Ryan,
making so many nicknames.
more Ryan nicknames and mustache content coming up after the break. We'll also be talking a little college football. I'm not calling for Tom Herman's job,
But he is.
I think he should be fired. So, catch us in about a minute with college football. And we're back with the second segment. We're talking all things college football this segment, and I'm sure you guys are saying at home, hey, Ethan, you host Save Saturdays U. You already talked about Tom Herman on that show on Thursday. And you know what? I did, but not enough. I need more. And I am angry. I'm not even a Texas fan. I am a Nebraska Cornhuskers fan. I hate Texas. But Tom Herman, he's just a disgrace to the game. No, I'm not going to go that far, but he's certainly not been the coach that Texas thought he was going to be. And football is better when Texas is good.
Yeah, agreeable.
You cannot tell me that football has been as good, college football has been as good as it was in 2005 when USC and Texas met in the national championship. And I'm not going to say it was the game of the century because Will would freak out about that. We're not talking about that.
Well, yeah, that's a big debate we don't want to get into.
Right. But football nationally has not been as good as it was then. For Nebraska fans, it hasn't been good since it was the late 90s.
Before we move on with the segment, I just have another question of the week here. Since you brought up 2005.
Well, it's called Question of the Week because there's only one.
But I got another one. I got another one.
Of the week.
What is your peak year of college football? Like if since you've been alive, that you've since you've followed college football, like what's your peak year where it's like if you could go back to like the greatest time, what year could you go back to as a college football fan?
Okay, so since I've been following college football, it's going to be the year in which Ohio State lost to the Virginia Tech Hokies early in the season. Virginia Tech.
Oh yeah,
Virginia
was
Tech
that the Braxton Miller spin move year?
Yeah, or that was the year before because they beat them that year. But that was just a crazy year, and I think that was the first year I actually started caring about college football. I would watch it every day as I did my homework in my basement. A lot of action. So that was definitely my favorite year. If I could take it back to any year ever, it'd probably just be like any year that Nebraska was good or the year I just mentioned in which Texas and USC met in the national title game, and Vince Young had that probably one of the most memorable runs in college football history.
Absolutely.
Ryan is like getting a little too excited over there. So, Ryan, if you could take it back to any year, what year would it be?
Well, honestly, I really enjoyed watching Nebraska football under Bo Pelini.
We all did.
I mean, with
so you're saying you enjoyed winning?
Yeah. I mean, Roy Halu Jr.
Hello.
What?
Roy Halu Jr.
Sorry. And I mean, what was that quarterback? I mean, I remember watching number 5.
Zach Taylor.
That was Zach. That was
Zach Lee.
Yeah, Zach.
Zach Lee. Yeah. Yeah, he was pretty good. I mean, back in those days, I just loved watching Bo Pelini coach.
I did too. It was great.
Oh, I know you like Bo Pelini.
Well, yeah, this is why this is back up my answer. My answer is 2008, 2009. Bo Pelini's first year beat Dabo Swinney and Clemson in the Gator Bowl. You had a BCS championship of Tim Tebow versus Sam Bradford. 10-point game. Just a classic. 2 big college football schools, 2 Heisman hopefuls. You had a USC Rose Bowl. USC was relevant. You always like it when USC's relevant. Utah beat Alabama that year, and you love to just hate Alabama. Texas and Ohio State were in the Fiesta Bowl, so they were both relevant. Just that, like you said, football's better when Texas is good. It was just a great time.
Now it's better when Texas is good. Now that we don't have to play them every
Well,
year.
yeah, but
Because Texas.
and
would
2008, you know who the quarterback for Nebraska was? Joe Gans,
Oh,
the
boy.
GOAT of Nebraska.
I think that a young Wilson.
You know what his number was?
They're
Number
12.
12. You know who also was number 12?
Aaron
Tom
Rodgers.
Brady.
Aaron
Tom
Rodgers.
Brady,
just TB12.
the GOAT of Nebraska, Joe Gans. Look him up.
I think a young Wilson was at like High V or Super Saver, maybe a restaurant, maybe Valentino's or Runza, and I think Joe Gans came up to him and said, "Hey kid, how you doing?" Just gave him like a fist bump or something.
That'd have been the greatest day of my life
and
because
Will-
Joe Gans. I shook his hand and just never washed my hand again. That kind of thing.
Yeah.
I would have done that. Yeah. Joe
May-
Gans was the crap back in the day.
Maybe like went to go fist bump him and just like tipped over by just the sheer
Greatness of Joe Gans.
yeah like that was like the first thing that Will ever said to me when we met as roommates last year was like talking about Husker football. It's like, oh, Joe Gans, I love Joe Gans. Joe Gans is great. He's the greatest quarterback we've ever had.
He is.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear about Tommy
And it's
Frazier.
like he's like, yeah, I remember Joe Gans playing as him on NCAA, playing with him at NCAA football, but like I don't know if he's the greatest we've ever had.
Well, you are a Nebraska fan then.
I mean, we did have a Heisman winning quarterback in Eric Crouch.
Right.
Not
I mean,
in the sense of quarterback, maybe
yeah,
not so much.
I'm gonna say that's okay. Can I rephrase it? Joe Gans is the best passer we've ever had.
Okay, well, we haven't had very many
That-
passing
well, I mean, yeah.
quarterbacks.
I mean,
Who's his
well,
competition-
since I'd
who's
say-
his competition?
well, after
Zach
Eric Crouch.
Taylor and Tanner Lee.
Zach Taylor. I mean, that is true, but we have a deep history of running quarterbacks. But so far, Joe Gans is the best passer we've ever had.
I can
And I love
I can
throwing the
see
football.
why you would say
I love
that.
throwing the football. That's why I love it.
I think that Zach Taylor might have a claim to that as well. He put up some gaudy numbers, and you're a big numbers guy.
Zach Taylor's up there. Yeah. The only thing was I didn't watch Zach Taylor. I was like 4. So if I could have watched him, I probably would have loved him.
You know, I wasn't alive back then, but watching replays of Nebraska football, Brooke Behringer.
That'd have been cool.
Yeah. He was a good player.
Just got really sad. Someone pick up the energy real quick. Ethan, don't cry.
Man, you know,
Ethan, here's a tissue.
thank you.
Imaginary tissue.
Sorry I had to go there. I mean,
That actually helps with the next segment because,
You just
Brooke
keep going.
Behringer, Nebraska born, son of the Cornhusker State, wears number 18 for Nebraska.
Are you going to bring up who I think you're going to say?
We have one of those right now,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes, we do.
and his name is Matt Masker.
Yes.
Yeah,
Matt Masker,
buddy.
let's go. The GOAT. Not quite.
Hopefully, in the thick of the QB competition that's going on in Lincoln right now, you've heard the names of Luke and Adrian. I think that Scott is just trying to throw the Buckeyes off the scent.
Just going to throw Matt Masker in there. I'm going to dime him up.
The pride of Kearney.
If Matt Masker
Yeah.
walked out there as a starter, I don't even, I would lose my crap.
I bet Ryan Day would just call a timeout right there then. Right
Ryan
there
Day
and
would just call the Big Ten and say, okay, before when we weren't going to have a season, let's go back to that COVID. We just did a really quick sideline test. 9 of my guys have COVID. We can't play this game. Sorry.
I have COVID, actually, Kevin Warren. Ryan.
I thought you were saying you had COVID. I'm like, well, thanks for telling Ryan
Wow.
and I.
Wow.
We're screwed.
You're immune, Will.
now.
Will had COVID in August. He's immune.
July. I'd say more July and into August.
Ryan, I'm just gonna be real. I'm definitely throwing you under the bus. I'm trying to infiltrate.
Great.
I'm trying to
Great.
infiltrate the Nebraska government with my COVID.
Uh-oh.
No, but Matt Masker probably not realistically in the competition. Is between Luke and Adrian. We didn't really know that there's a QB competition as Husker fans. Husker Nation was unaware of this until Matt Lubick, Scott Frost come out and heap praise, Mario Verduzco as well, heap praise on Luke McCaffrey. Adrian comes out, basically acknowledges the competition and says, hey, it was a competition when I came here. We're always competing every day.
Adrian said that?
Adrian did.
It was not a competition ever.
And he said that he wasn't. In an earlier interview, he said last year he wasn't all in on football. He was out of it at times.
Literally.
Didn't put 100% of his focus on football. So,
He was putting it into the grades.
given what the coaches have said, what the players have said, and the limited tape we have seen of Luke and the abundance of film we have seen on Adrian, who's going to win the quarterback competition, and who would you like to win the quarterback competition? Because I know there's going to be two different answers for Will.
Yeah.
Right. Well,
because who does he want to win? Matt Masker.
Yeah. If we're being completely honest, yeah, I'd love to see Matt Masker.
If we're being honest again, right after Joe Gans, he started talking about Matt Masker. So
if we're being honest, I'd like to just let Joe Gans fake his birth certificate and let him come back and play. No, honestly, I'd rather I want McCaffrey to win, but I think Adrian will win just because Adrian has too much relationship with Scott, and he knows he started for 2 years. So I mean, it's really hard to dethrone. Just like in politics, it's hard to beat the incumbent.
Sure.
It's just hard. So I don't know.
I'd
love to see McCaffrey win though, just because his athletic ability I think is way faster than Adrian, and that's the style of football that Scott Frost wants to play. I think
fits Luke
McCaffrey. I think he fits that more.
Yeah. I agree.
Adrian's he was supposed to be that, but I don't know. Maybe he's gotten faster over the offseason, but I just think he's not a passing. He's not a good enough passer to not have the legs. Adrian needs the legs to be a good quarterback. He can't just win a game purely from his arm.
all accounts indicate that Adrian appears slimmer.
Well, we'll have to see it. I have not seen him since last season, so I don't know.
Slim Adrian is a legend. Cheeseburger Adrian is something you never want to see.
He's a god. And McCaffrey's also related to Christian McCaffrey, so I would hope that he can just if he could just perform at half of what Christian did, I would love that.
And maybe we'll see that throughout the season.
Maybe we'll get a little two quarterback action.
Yeah.
That'd be interesting. Although I know the little bit of time he played, he didn't look great throwing the football, but maybe that's improved. Is that a full off season? I don't know.
Oh, I'm sure.
Do a 2 quarterback system. Maybe Adrian's a better passer and bringing Luke in to run some gadget plays. I don't know.
Yeah.
This whole season is just we don't know. I have no idea what's coming up.
One of those wait and see situations.
But as Ethan mentioned, our wide receivers suck.
So I don't know if that's fair to say. We've brought in a couple of big recruits. Omar Manning, he struggled to stay at practice, but I still think he's a good enough player that we're going to see something
Make some
out
big
of him.
plays.
But Spielman was supposed to be the greatest thing since sliced bread, and look how that turned out. I mean,
but look at him at TCU. Clearly, he's not a talented player. He can't even get on the field.
Sure.
That's true.
So
TCU can't beat Kansas State either. So boom.
And if Omar Manning is getting interest from around the country, I would say he's a pretty good player. Alante Brown, one of the.
To be fair, do we have any players that were interested from the country?
Yeah, Omar Manning.
I want to get a top 20 recruit.
He was the top.
And Omar Manning was pretty highly.
That's out of the question. We were in it. The Huskers were in it for a top 10 player, Terrence Lewis, outside or inside. He was a linebacker out of Florida, Miami. They were in it till the end. All the predictions said either Texas A&M or Nebraska, and then randomly during the shutdown, just committed to Tennessee. I was heartbroken. Crushed. I'm a big recruiting guy. I follow recruiting hard.
Mm-hmm.
I thought we had him. That was crushing. But moving back to the quarterback competition, it's going to be Adrian. It should be Adrian.
Ooh.
Adrian is
of the
best players on our roster.
I think Ethan was at a Hy-Vee or Super Saver, and Adrian walked up to him and said, "Hey, kid." And now he just loves him forever. I think that's what happened. That's why you love Adrian so much.
I do not love Adrian. I just think that he is receiving undue criticism. So I need to be. I need to match the.
He was not great last year.
I need to match all of Husker Nation's negativity with overwhelming positivity.
He was not good last year.
So it does seem strange how positive I am on Adrian.
I think we can agree.
Because it's how negative the rest of Husker Nation is. But he's not a bad quarterback.
He was not good last year. His freshman year was very promising. I was a big fan of Adrian after his freshman year. Last year was not great, but he said he was not on his game. But I've said this before. I will support whoever our quarterback is. If it's Adrian, I'm 100% behind Adrian.
Is he a junior this year?
Yeah.
He is, but there's an eligibility freeze this year for COVID. So whatever you are this year, you're going to be next year as well. So Luke McCaffrey's going to be a redshirt freshman for another year.
Love to see it.
So that does open up the possibility of Adrian having a Joe Burrow-esque season. winning the Heisman, leading us to a national championship.
Are you
and then
saying
just
that
going
he
to the
has to
draft
transfer
and then
though?
we get McCaffrey.
If he's gonna have a Joe Burrow season, he's got to transfer.
I said esque. Joe Burrow-esque.
Oh, okay.
So there is the possibility that Adrian goes to the draft if he has an exceptional season. I think the chances of that are very slim, of him having such a good season that it's good enough for him to go into the draft, because you'd have to expect that he's getting
I can see him getting drafted.
He's getting first, like he's getting top 2 round.
Oh yeah,
at
I mean,
that point.
I was gonna say Tanner Lee got drafted, so I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Adrian.
But you don't leave early to get drafted in the 5th round.
Yeah.
Unless you are way overestimating your own skill level.
He definitely was.
I don't think so.
Tanner Lee.
Oh, Tanner Lee.
I'm not Tanner Lee. He was definitely overestimating his own skill.
I think Tanner Lee looked at his prospects and knew that his only chance was the draft, because he wasn't going to be the starter at Nebraska because he couldn't run. He couldn't run Scott Frost's offense.
Yeah.
And I think that looking at his season prior to going into the NFL draft, threw a lot of interceptions.
Yeah. A lot of pick sixes.
And that would be his second transfer.
He was so hyped coming in, too. I was so hyped for Tanner Lee.
Yeah.
He was way overhyped by the media.
Yeah.
Classic case of overhyped by the media. But
classic case of the media ruining everything.
Yeah.
That's you.
You're the media, too.
You're the media. We're all the media now.
Yeah, exactly.
Darn it.
Uh-oh.
You dragged us in.
Yeah, I'm done with these claims, these harassments. You're all media now.
He's dragged us in. We're done.
We're the good media, though.
I'm sure that's very disappointing for you guys. Another thing that's been very disappointing for Texas fans.
Yeah, Tom Herman.
Tom Herman.
You just get it out of your system real quick.
Yeah, let's hear it.
Ryan and I will be quiet. You just go. Let us know when you're done.
Tom Herman is the head coach of the flagship university of the state of Texas, the state of football. You will not find a more passionate state of high school for high school football than Texas. I don't know the exact numbers, but I'm guessing you're getting a very high number of top recruits nationwide out of Texas. You could build a national championship squad with just kids from Texas.
Oh, yeah.
And Tom Herman can't win. He can't avoid 2 lost seasons. He just collects them like they're a rare trading card or like a stamp. Like, what's Tom Herman's fascination with 2 lost seasons? He's the worst. He's the worst big program coach. He was great at Houston. I thought the hire was amazing at the time. He very successful at Houston. He led them to be basically like proto UCF. You know, they were getting national buzz. It was like, oh, Houston could be in the playoff competition if they go undefeated, or conversation if they go undefeated. Texas scoops him up. Texas alumni.
Yeah.
And he can't inspire his players to win more than 10 games in a season. I ran his record. He's like 27 and 17 now.
1 of 4 against Oklahoma.
Yeah, you can't beat your biggest rival. Your only competition really for the championship in that conference.
Right.
And you can't win. And I'm going to just jump right into it. I said it today on Safe Saturdays. You wasted all of Sam Ehlinger's career. That 4-star, 119th player nationally. He didn't get a lot of offers from big schools, but that's because everyone knew he was a Texas fan. He's from Austin, went to Westlake High School.
It was just meant to be.
Yeah, Texas offers him. Why would you waste the offer on the kid? You're just going to waste your energy calling that kid for 30 minutes to give him an offer when you know his hometown team is already recruiting him hard. So they get their guy right off the bat. Like, the hardest position to figure out is quarterback. Consistency, key. Sam Ehlinger started every game since he was a freshman. How can you not put together a 10-win season? Tom Herman has been awful. He's going to land on his feet. Some team's going to give him a shot at offensive coordinator or head coach.
Mm-hmm.
So his career's not done, but it should be done at Texas.
Yeah.
Ryan, you're our resident Longhorn fan.
Are you done?
I will tell you this right now. I'll give you a horns up, and you can take a picture of it if they fire Tom Herman, because I support that.
Right.
What are your thoughts as the Texas fan in the room?
Yeah, it's very disappointing.
I mean, I've moved Will to tears. He's tearing up over there.
I'm just waiting.
Well, everybody was. I mean, when Texas signed Tom Herman as the head coach, 3 years ago, I mean, everybody was. We were excited, like, okay, we're in this again, you know. Herman coming from Austin, and has very talented players. I mean, one of the highest schools in recruitment, and just can't put it together. I mean, last offseason, he got rid of a few key assistant coaches, picked up David Ash, defensive coordinator. He was head coach at Rutgers.
Chris Ash.
Yeah, Chris Ash, my bad.
Yeah, that's been a disaster of a hiring.
Right. Yeah, the Texas defense has been horrendous. Definitely something that I thought was going to be improved this year after watching the UTEP game.
And it's not because of a lack of talent.
No,
that Texas defense.
No.
None of this is a lack of
No,
talent.
absolutely not. We have the talent. Texas has the talent to win and to win a playoff game. I mean, they have the talent to go to the playoffs. They just coaching.
Well, and I think a lot of people get the wrong idea of Sam Ehlinger because maybe they're not watching the Texas games. They just go look at the box score after the game and go, "Oh, he had 2 interceptions." You know?
Yeah.
What's the deal there? Well, I look at a kid who's constantly put in terrible situations by his defense.
Mm-hmm.
They don't turn the ball over. He doesn't get those quick score possessions.
Mm-hmm.
Also a problem in Nebraska, and I think that played into Adrian's bad season last year. But speaking to Texas, his defense can't stop a wet tissue. They go down and score. He gets behind early. You look at the Oklahoma game.
Yeah.
He goes down by 2 scores after the first quarter.
Yep.
He had to throw the ball 51 times. You're going to make mistakes when you have to put the pressure on like that.
Yep.
And you can say this is something bad, but that kid loves Texas. He wants Texas to be successful, and so he might push the needle a little bit. He might push the envelope a little bit, and that'll cause mistakes when you're trying a little too hard almost. He's not relaxed, but that's a passion for the game. And if his defense and the rest of his team and his coach didn't get him in the situation where he needs to throw the ball 51 times and rush the ball an additional 23 times, I believe.
Yeah.
You're not going to get those mistakes.
Right.
So I'm really disappointed. I like Sam Ehlinger. I think he's a good quarterback, good kid.
Man, he's a great quarterback.
Who do you guys got coming up the pipeline?
Wait, are we still talking about Texas?
We are still talking about Texas.
Okay. Just let me know when you're done. I got a whole lot.
Pipeline.
Yeah, who's your backup quarterback? Who's going to be starting after this year?
Oh.
If Sam doesn't use his extra year of eligibility, which I think is the assumption is that he's going to go to the draft.
Man, what's his name?
Well, that should tell you that enough right there. He's not. I can tell you the backup quarterback for Clemson, the backup quarterback for Alabama.
Oh, Casey Thompson.
Those guys are also 5-star quarterbacks.
Well, that's
top
what I'm trying
recruits.
to say. Like the excitement is almost gone after Sam Ehlinger is gone. Like there's no hype. There's no Luke McCaffrey for Texas right now. Sam Ehlinger is the guy.
Yeah.
And they couldn't make it happen with the guy. So Texas, I think they're in a really bad spot right now with Herman. I don't know who else they can go hire to make it happen. That's the thing that Will told me after he heard my Herman take last week on Save Saturday's U. Like he said, who are they going to go get? I don't know. Did people think that Dabo Swinney was going to be a good hire at the time? No. Did anyone have him pegged as the savior of Clemson football? No. But it's certainly not Tom Herman. He's proven it. He's had 4 years to prove that he's the guy. He's the savior of that program, and he has been unable to resurrect them in the recruiting hotbed of recruiting hotbeds. Will, who's been your biggest disappointment?
Oh, I got a lot to talk about here at Texas.
Let's
You
talk
can't just
that.
say all that and then just not expect.
We'll let it out.
You acted uninterested in the Texas argument, so I just.
I was just.
no.
Oh, I was interested. I was just letting you get everything out so that I could come back because I know you're really heated about this.
Yeah, go ahead.
And
go at it. Go at it, King.
I get my first question. Do you think Dan Mullen should be fired from Florida? Because Florida's I would say, just as big of a recruiting hotbed as Texas. Yet Dan Mullen has not been a contender at Florida. He just lost to Texas A&M with a team that is the most talented, Kyle Trask, best quarterback in the SEC, much better than Sam Ehlinger. I love Sam Ehlinger, but Kyle Trask is just incredible. Do you think Dan Mullen should be fired from Florida? Because I think he's in the exact same situation as Herman. Mullen probably has a better career record at Texas, but I would say his inability to win the big game with a very talented roster in a recruiting hotbed is very similar to Herman's situation.
Right off the bat, he's already 23-6, and
Well,
Tom Herman's only
I said
27-17. So in one whole more season, Tom Herman only has 4 more wins. So Mullen, yeah, he's.
But we're not talking about the coaching record. You brought up the recruiting hotbed, not being able to produce with the recruiting hotbed.
I did bring up the coaching
You
record.
mentioned how he couldn't win the big games. Dan Mullen hasn't won a big game at Florida yet, and he just lost another game this season
I think
in a year that he should have been a title contender.
It's not a good look, and
It's very similar.
I said that on the Save Saturdays too. I said it was not a good look for Dan Mullen this weekend at Texas A&M, but I don't think it's a very fair comparison because when you look at Tom Herman, who's his competition in the Big 12? Oklahoma? Okay, great. That you should still win 11 games other than Oklahoma. He has not won 11 games other than Oklahoma. Look at Florida. They've had to deal with possibly the greatest team of all time in LSU, the greatest coach of all time in Nick Saban, a exceptional program in Georgia. So that's 3 teams right off the bat that are all better than Oklahoma, all better than the best team that Texas has to face. And I think we can all agree that in college football, rivalries, everyone brings it to a rivalry, and Texas-Oklahoma is a rivalry, and they've been unable to bring it.
Okay.
So, yeah.
I got more. I see your point.
I can see the comp that you're trying to make with Dan Mullen.
I'm just trying to make a comparison there. I just want to see your opinion. That wasn't an argument. I was making the comparison. I want to see what your opinion was.
Now, if Dan Mullen goes out and lays an egg over the next 3 years, I'll be at his throat as well. But right now, given the fact that he has 1 less year than Herman, and he's in a more difficult conference, and he's been winning percentage-wise more successful, I do not think it is a fair comparison to say that Tom Herman and Dan Mullen are in similar positions in their career. And to top it all off, Dan Mullen's already proven that he is a successful coach in the SEC with Mississippi State. Tom Herman has only proven to be a good coach in the American Conference, which is one of the better Group of 5 conferences, but it's not a Power 5 conference.
Okay, I got more.
Go ahead.
Before Tom Herman, the head coach at Texas was a guy named Charlie Strong.
He was terrible as well.
In the 3 years at Texas, he was at right after Mac Brown, Mac Brown's last season went 8-5 and lost the Alamo Bowl. Charlie Strong went 6-7, 5-7, and 5-7, and made Texas a lackluster program in the Big 12 and in the country. First season under Tom Herman, they go 7-6, and they win the Texas Bowl. Second season under Tom Herman, they go 10-4, and they win the Sugar Bowl against a Georgia team who was supposed to be in the college football playoff. His third year there, he goes 8-5 and wins an Alamo Bowl. 3 straight bowl wins. The first time they won a bowl game since 2012 under Mac Brown. I'm starting to think you are just the most perfect Husker fan when you win 7 to 10 games and win a bowl game against top competition. And that third bowl game was against a top 15 Utah team who at the time we didn't think was legit, but they proved they were legit after that season, that the Utah program was legit.
They have 11 wins.
In the Alamo Bowl?
I think his last...
You're trying to say that Utah wasn't a team that we knew was good when they played.
Well, that was like
Alamo
the first
Bowl?
couple of years that they were like proving. They were like Washington. Like I don't think that's not the point.
If they'd won the Pac-12 championship against Oregon, they would have been in the college football playoff. We knew Utah was good last year.
Well, they were one of the. I mean, it's the Pac-12. I mean, just because you make the championship game doesn't mean you're legit. You got to win it all. They didn't.
Then they lose their game against Oregon.
And before that, they're not a program you think of as legit. Like they're like the UCF. Like UCF could go undefeated 2 years in a row, and we're still like, it's UCF. Like I don't know. That's what Utah kind of was. But that's not the point. We're not talking about Utah football. The point is Texas couldn't even get a winning record under Tom Herman. Not only are they having winning records and had 1 10-win season, but they've won 3 straight bowl games. And you're just the perfect Husker fan to not be okay with that. Like, in what world are we not okay with that? And not only has Texas won 3 straight bowl games and been to a Big 12 championship game, which they hadn't done since 2009, but Oklahoma is probably, arguably, in one of the better stretches of their program history right now, and you're going to fault Texas because they're 1-4 against that? I mean, 3 straight two Heisman winners, and a third right after was a Heisman contender, and you're upset at Tom Herman because he couldn't beat that?
Yeah.
They are the Alabama of the Big 12, and you're upset with that?
Well,
you are asking way too much, especially if you do fire Herman, like you just mentioned. Who are they going to hire?
I told you I don't know who they're
you
going to hire.
don't know. So what I'm saying is you should not fire a coach if you do not have a great backup plan already set. Because what do you become? Nebraska. You hire Mike Riley and you quickly become 4-8. That's what, and you become even weaker than you were. So I think
the issue with what you're saying right now is that everyone knew when Nebraska. I'm not going to say everyone because clearly whoever made the decision to hire Mike Riley didn't know, but most people questioned the Mike Riley hire from the beginning. I think a lot of people did not expect that to pan out very well.
They questioned it because he was our only good option at the time.
He was not the only good option. Scott Frost was there.
Well, if we had a better option,
off of a national championship appearance with Oregon.
If we would have had a better, okay, we're not going to argue Nebraska football right now. We're arguing Texas.
Right. And
the point is they don't have a great backup plan. So I would not hire the guy that's gotten you 3 straight bowl wins, gotten you to your first Big 12 title since 2009, and it's actually giving you winning records, and has that actually brought them in the conversation. Sure, they're not winning the big games right now, but they were so far out of the conversation before Tom Herman. They are actually in it now. The fact that we're even talking about Texas right now should be enough, because it takes more than 3 years to build a program. Dabo Swinney, first year at Clemson, lost to Bo Pelini in Nebraska. Now look at Dabo Swinney. Look at Bo Pelini, who still has their job, who is arguably, I won't say the best coach right now because of Saban, but he's right at number 2. Dabo Swinney is. So I'm saying my argument, my opinion, give Tom Herman some more time.
I mean, every player on the team right now is a guy he recruited. This is his team, and they are 2-2 right now. They just choked. They had every opportunity to win the Red River rivalry. It's a struggle. Saying that is a struggle. Right. But no, there's not a sure bet coaching hire out there, and they're probably not going to fire Tom Herman because COVID is making finances tough, and he's got one of the highest buyouts in the nation. So I do not anticipate he's going to be fired. I think he should be fired. And no, Dabo Swinney was not successful right out of the gate. But in the great words of Michael Jordan, the second best basketball player of all time, the ceiling is the roof. The expectations in Texas are not what the expectations were at Clemson when they hired Dabo Swinney.
So you are a great Nebraska fan. You're just like, if you don't win a national title in your first 3 years, you're gone. I don't want to see you ever again. That's what you're saying right now.
Well, I mean, he's on his 4th year now, and he's.
If that's what you're saying, then I'll let you have that opinion, because I'm just not going to be able to argue that, because I don't know what to say to that. You just can't win a title all the time.
I mean Baylor has had a more successful season, and they're coming off a rape scandal. They've had a more successful season in the Big 12.
Baylor goes to one Big 12 championship, and all of a sudden Baylor is the USC, the Big 12.
During Tom Herman's tenure at Texas, Baylor has had a more successful season. That has had a more successful
season?
More successful season than any of Tom Herman's seasons.
What? Okay, no, I want you to justify that right now. Why? What did Baylor do? In that 1 year, they make the Big 12 championship game, and they lost? Because Tom Herman went to a Big 12 championship game and lost. Tom Herman won 3 straight bowl games. When was the last time Baylor's won a bowl game? I'll let you look it up.
Appreciate it.
Because Baylor's not a great program.
I'll look up the Baylor.
I already looked up Baylor.
Last bowl game?
Well, it's all here on the
Did
Wikipedia.
Baylor beat Jake Fromm?
They did not. They lost.
Did Baylor beat the number 11 team in the country in Utah?
No,
Tom Herman did both of those.
They did not. But, the Texas Bowl, which you seem to value highly, they did win the Texas Bowl.
Well, I didn't value it. I just said they won a bowl game. That's when they went 7-6. Texas did.
They beat Vanderbilt by
they beat
7.
Vanderbilt.
7.
They beat Vanderbilt by 7. Oh, my gosh. I didn't even know Vanderbilt was allowed to make bowl games. They're so bad.
Texas also beat an anemic SEC team in the Texas Bowl, so I don't want to hear it. But last season,
can you just admit that take you just said? Baylor is not even near Texas.
Last season,
under Tom Herman.
Last season, the Baylor Bears won 11 games, which, if I do remember correctly, that is more games than Tom Herman
if you're basing
ever won in a single season.
Your argument is not great right now.
My argument is that Baylor has had a single season better than any season that Tom Herman has ever had.
So Tom Herman's
Just 'cause
coached
the
3 years. He's coached 3 years. He
Yeah.
had a 10-win season, went to a Big 12 title, won 3 straight bowl games, beat a college football playoff contender, beat number 11 Utah, and you're going to say Baylor's been better because they had one more win,
I'm not
one
saying
more season.
I'm not saying Baylor's been better over all 3 years, but I'm just saying during the same
So
amount
you're going
of
to
time,
fire a guy
during the
because he
same
was
amount of
not as
time-
good 1 year as another team?
During the same amount of time, Baylor had a season which was better than any of the seasons he's ever had. And Texas
I wouldn't even
fans
say
don't-
that season was
Texas-
better. They just had one more win. I wouldn't even say that win was better. I would say beating Georgia,
Well, two of
who
those
was supposed to be in the college football playoff, but if it wasn't for losing to Alabama, who you just said was the greatest college football program of all time, if it wasn't for that loss, Georgia would have been in it. They beat that team. So despite the 1-win difference, I think Texas had a better season that year. That was a much bigger season. And they also had a Heisman contender in Sam Ehlinger the past few years. So
Well, Baylor had a Heisman contender in Charlie Brewer last year. 'Cause he
I don't
played
even
with
know who that
exceptional
is.
stance.
I don't even
He's
know
their
that
quarterback.
He is not up to Sam Ehlinger standards. So
Well, you'll like this.
you're really stretching this Baylor thing far.
You'll like this. He wears number 12. Well, not
Oh,
anymore.
well,
He's,
he's,
not
he's
number-
already a goat.
Not
I
anymore.
already
He's
won.
number 5 now. But he was 12 last year.
Now he sucks. Now he's Jameis Winston.
I mean, there's been other. Donovan McNabb.
Yeah,
He was number 5. He was a good number 5.
No,
Zach Lee.
You had a
Zach
somewhat
Lee.
you had somewhat of an argument in your fire Tom Herman thing, but that Baylor thing just threw me off. I can't believe you just said that.
Well, we have.
I mean, I'm just gonna let you have that opinion. I mean, I can't argue because you're just a salty Nebraska fan that only will take a title every year. If you don't win a title every year, you're gone. So
I'm not asking for a title. I'm asking for him to beat Oklahoma and to win a Big 12 championship. So yeah, that title I'm looking for, but I'm not looking for a national.
Which he's
I'm
only
not even
coached
looking for a
3 years.
national
He's only
championship
coached 3
appearance.
years. Give him. I'm just saying. Give him some time.
It's out of the question
He's
for this
also-
year already.
But okay, real quick. So say Scott Frost. What if he has a 5-7 season next year? Would you fire Scott Frost because he has not had a winning year? Assuming he does not have a winning record this year, that's 4 straight years of losing records.
Yeah, but if you look at the situations, this year Nebraska has made 7 in-state offers to recruits. If you only made 7 in-state offers as the coach of Texas in Texas, you would be burned at the stake. Nebraska is in a recruiting dead zone. Texas is in the deepest recruiting basin. There's a weird way to say that, but recruiting basin in the country. So, yeah, the situations are a little different. And I think if you look at Texas, they have higher expectations than Nebraska even.
I wouldn't say that. I would say they're the same.
Well, Texas,
I think we're very similar.
In ESPN's Blue Blood rankings every year, Texas is rated higher.
I think
So
Nebraska.
I would say that Texas probably has higher
historically, I think
expectations.
Nebraska and Texas are on the same level. I would say, with like Penn State and USC. I think we're all there. And in terms of, you mentioned Sam Ehlinger. Did he not get an offer from Texas, or he did, or what? You said it was a waste of an offer to offer Sam Ehlinger.
No. He did get an offer from Texas. I was saying that he would have gotten more offers because he was a good player in high school. He would have gotten more offers from more places. But when it's the hometown team and they offer the kid, there's no sense wasting your time if you're in Ohio State
Oh, well, yeah. Then.
to call up this kid, spend 30 minutes on the phone with him when you can
So
be
why is
recruiting
that
other
negative
kids.
on Tom Herman?
I'm not saying that's negative on Tom
I
Herman.
thought you said that was like a
I was
negative.
I was explaining why if you go look up Sam Ehlinger's recruiting profile, you're not going to see a lot of offers, even though he had interest nationwide. I was substantiating a claim I was making.
Okay.
Just good journalism.
I was just confused. I didn't know what you were
Yeah,
talking about.
I understand. You've given me an exceptional option or chance to explain myself, so I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Courtesy I've never been granted when debating LeBron versus MJ.
George Pashy destroyed me last week. I don't want to hear it.
He did.
Yeah.
George was good.
Yeah, George was good.
Yeah.
He was clearly a basketball guy. Like you can tell he's a big fan.
Every person that I know that listens to the podcast who isn't on the podcast said afterwards that George kid, he knew his stuff. He was good.
Yeah.
But that's all the time we have for college football. I'm gonna cut it off. We've been talking about this way too long. So that's all the time we have for college football. We'll get to the MLB playoffs presented by Will Reason right after this short break. attempting to not break the record for longest episode of Safe Saturdays of all time. So we're going to keep it short in this third segment. Will, you got a little bit of an update for us from the MLB playoffs? Go ahead, hit us.
Well, yeah, it's not going to be big, but we never talk MLB on this show. And if you want more MLB action, come with the Boston Bias Show. But anyway, Tampa Bay currently leads Houston 3-1. Atlanta leads the Dodgers 2-1. Both very surprising. Tampa Bay, I knew they were a good team. Wasn't expecting them to be number 1 seed and about to almost sweep their way to the World Series. But the Astros beat them 1 game. Atlanta up 2-1. They've looked like, I don't even say a better team. They've just won games. The Dodgers are a clearly better team, but last game, Dodgers scored 11 runs in the first inning, beating the Braves 17-5. So that series has mixed emotions. Like, I don't know if the Dodgers are about to just go off and win like 9 straight games. Obviously, there's not 9 games in the series, but you know what I mean. So, a Tampa Bay Atlanta World Series would be wonderful. No one wants to see Houston in the World Series, and LA's been in it so much, and everyone just hates LA. Go Boston. So I'm excited for a Tampa Bay Atlanta World Series, especially since Atlanta they got Dansby Swanson. I'm a big Dansby Swanson fan, Vanderbilt guy. Tampa Bay does not have. They're kind of like the Royals, so they're like that feel-good team that doesn't have a big payroll, no big names, but they just play well and they win. So. We'll see how the MLB goes. That's all I got. Just a little MLB update for you. Yeah, and the Yankees lost. So if you watch the Boston Bias Show, yeah, look forward to that.
If you love the Yankees, stay away
from the Boston
Bias Show. If
you
hate the Yankees, so everybody in the world that's not from New York.
If you are a Yankees fan, you shouldn't even have clicked into the Boston Bias Show. Like, don't be mad at me because you should have just known.
Well, it would be my fault because I put the name of the podcast last in the title. So. They would have clicked on it and been like, he's talking the MLB playoffs. Click, and then it's just like, the Yankees suck, and they're like, oh, what the heck?
You should see the logo and be like, okay, this is not for me. So if you're a Yankees fan, you listen to Boston Bias, I don't know what to tell you. You shouldn't have clicked into it.
Apple Podcasts doesn't change the cover art. They only do our logo. So they could be confused. They could be tricked.
If you're a Yankees fan, I hope you listen to it and just get wrecked for 30 minutes. So
even though Boston Bias will have aired already, consider this a warning. NFL picks. I did terrible last week. I did the worst. I went 6-8. Ryan, give us the rest of the records.
I think I went 7-5, and Will went 9.
I have no idea.
Will,
did you send it to the group chat?
9-3.
Will did well.
Yeah,
as always.
I did not, unfortunately. But fantastic part about NFL picks is we have another week right away to redeem myself. Starting off, Broncos, Patriots. Finally getting that game. I got the Patriots. Cam Newton, is he going to be back? I don't know. But Broncos, they don't have a quarterback either. And even without Cam Newton, Patriots look like they could have beat the Chiefs. So
even without Melvin Gordon, right? Is he out?
Yeah, he got a DUI.
Oh, that's right.
I don't know how that affects his eligibility to play, though.
I think it's still up in the air for him. But, yeah, I like the Patriots.
Well, Will's going to take the Patriots.
I'm going to take the Patriots. And, by the way, Cam Newton, first day back today. He did practice. So did Stephen Gilmore. So it's looking good for them playing. And, yeah, they almost beat the Chiefs without him. So I'm taking Patriots. And it's in New England, too.
Texans, Titans. I'm going to take the Titans. Big Titans guy right here.
Oh, Titans.
After last week, I don't think you can bet against the Titans. Like, you have to go Titans.
Browns, Steelers. Both teams are doing.
This is a tough pick.
Doing well.
This is a really tough pick.
Colin Cowherd's herd hierarchy. Browns 10, Steelers 9. So
he picked the Browns.
He put the Browns in his top 10. It's probably the first time they've ever been.
But in this game, he's
definitely picking.
He's taking the Steelers.
I think he would.
Clearly,
I'm going to take the Browns.
I knew you'd take that.
I like their offense. I like that.
Yeah, I like the Browns too in this game.
I'm taking the Steelers here. They got the coaching up. They got better coaching, better defense, better quarterback, more veteran quarterback.
Okay.
The Browns can't run all over them. I don't think they have a shot.
Ravens versus the Eagles. This is not a commentary on how I feel about Eagles quarterback Carson Wentz, but it's going to be the Ravens, and I don't think Carson Wentz is going to have a very good game.
Ravens.
I'm also going Ravens. Carson Wentz last year in Philly.
You just like Jalen Hurts too much.
Well, Carson Wentz just sucks. I told you this just stuck with Foles, and now I'm being proved right over time.
Washington football team versus the New York Football Giants. I'm going to be taking the football team. It's a battle of two dead fish.
Hey now. Hey now.
Hey, you're right. They are in the thick of the NFC East race.
Everyone is.
New York Giants. I got the Giants.
I'm taking the football team. And hey, football team has shown life this season. Unlike the Giants, they've actually shown life.
Well, with Alex Smith.
Now they have Alex Smith. I wish if they'd have Haskins, I'd have been a big fan. But I mean,
Well, they can't have Haskins because the Patriots are getting him.
it's unfortunate for them. They're missing out on an All-Pro.
If you guys didn't listen to the last episode of Boston Bias, Will thinks that Dwayne Haskins is a potential next starter for the Patriots.
I said I'd like to see it, so we'll see.
Falcons, Vikings. I'm taking the Vikings. Falcons bringing in an interim head coach. Have not looked good. Going to be the Vikings.
But didn't they win their first game? Or are they still winless?
I'm not sure.
Who's that?
Falcons.
Vikings.
They're still winless.
Oh.
Falcons, Vikings. Who do you got?
Yeah, I like the Vikings.
Yeah, I'm also taking the Vikings.
I love Kirk.
Lions, Jaguars. You know I hate Gardner Minshew, so we're taking the Lions.
Jags all day. Let's go.
I love Minshew Magic, but I gotta take the Lions.
Oh.
They just got the veteran team. Not great, but and whatever his name is.
Matthew
Stafford. He's pretty good.
Bengals versus the Colts. You already know I'm taking my boy Jonathan Taylor and the Colts.
Colts.
I'm gonna take the Bengals. Joey Burrow is getting the dub.
Jets, Dolphins. I just skipped a team. Jets versus the Dolphins. I'm going to be taking the Dolphins.
Dolphins.
Yeah, the Dolphins.
Bears, Panthers. I'm taking the Panthers. Panthers look really good. Bears, I think they're a pretender, so I'm taking the Panthers.
I like the Bears.
It's in Carolina, but Bridgewater is the Panthers quarterback. They don't have Christian McCaffrey. I'm going with the Bears. Nick Foles just can't lose. I don't know what it is about the guy.
Mm-hmm.
The Panthers have been unable to lose recently. Packers, Buccaneers. Before COVID, Will and I were going to go to this game. We had the plan ready to go.
Are they letting fans in?
Well, it's in Florida, so definitely, but it's a very
Oh,
limited. And
we should drive.
The
Let's
tickets
fly
are
right now.
otherworldly expensive.
Oh, gosh.
So Packers, Bucks. I'm going to be taking my Green Bay Packers.
Buccaneers.
Despicable.
We're going to be putting the
Despicable.
Bob Toast in this because I'm taking
Yeah.
the Buccaneers.
Yeah.
Let's go,
Despicable.
Brady. In Tampa Bay, they ain't losing.
We're not putting a Bob Toast on this. We're putting 5 on
Okay,
this.
we'll put 5 Bob Toast. This is the biggest prediction between us this year.
Count me in.
Tom Brady versus Aaron Rodgers, which, by the way, if we had a TV 12 seconds, which we don't this week, Tom Brady versus Aaron Rodgers head-to-head, they are 1-1. So this will break
Yep.
the tie.
Rams versus the 49ers. Clearly, it's going to be the Rams.
Rams.
The 49ers still losing everyone? Do they have
They have
anyone?
Mostert back.
They're still
That's it?
They're still lacking on the defensive line.
Well,
though.
yeah, then I'm taking the Rams.
Jimmy Garoppolo banged up.
Usually, I would have took the 49ers if they were healthy, but yeah, Rams.
This is the third week in a row that we've had multiple Monday night football games. First one is going to be Chiefs versus the Bills.
At 4 p.m. Wow.
Chiefs coming off of a surprising loss to the Raiders, so I'm going to be taking the Bills.
I like the Chiefs in this game.
I'm taking the Bills because Josh Allen's just that much better than Mahomes so far this year.
Yeah,
So
Sean McDermott.
and it's in Buffalo.
This is a great
I
matchup
agree.
for your
Sucks.
quarterbacks.
I agree. Sean McDermott's a pretty good coach and lead the Bills over the Chiefs. I agree. Monday Night Football game number 2, Cardinals Cowboys. Cowboys will do anything they can to lose a game, seemingly. So I'm going to be taking the Cardinals, even though both teams have looked less than stellar of late.
Cowboys.
I'm taking the Cowboys. Andy Dalton is legit.
Yep.
I didn't even factor in the backup quarterback to my pick.
Andy Dalton's a starter in
just-
this league. So
Just looking at what the Cowboys have done.
and it's in Dallas. Andy Dalton's going to bring new energy. The Cardinals are not ready for Andy Dalton. They were ready for Dak. They're not ready for Andy.
I think
I think we
there's
can all
plenty
agree,
of-
though. I'm ready for Monday night. Those are 2 great
Yeah,
games
right.
either way. Like
Great
those-
matchups.
I mean, the Chiefs
Kyler
Bills
Murray?
game. The Chiefs Bills game is going to be fun, but I don't think
Cardinals Cowboys.
I don't think it's going to be fun because neither team.
You don't want to watch Kyler Murray, Hopkins go off on Monday Night Football against that terrible Dallas defense.
if
Big
both,
numbers.
If both teams were more competitive against the rest of the NFL, I would say yeah. But
tell
they're
you
like
what.
they're middle tier teams that aren't going to make a bunch of noise in the playoffs at this point.
Well, either way, if you have Kyler Murray in your fantasy league, you better be picking him up right now and starting him.
Yep.
If he's available on waivers, you need to pick up Kyler Murray. Is that what you're saying?
He's probably not available on waivers, but if you have him, you better be starting him because he's about to score 50 points. I'm not going to bet on that.
Well, that is a hot take.
I know you didn't want. I was over exaggerating like I always do.
So if you're a fantasy owner, Will's telling you to bet on Kyler Murray, but we're going to get into a man with more experience in the gambling industry. It's Bets' bets of the week with Big Bets Bents.
All right. Here we go. Let's get into some betting. All right. So we'll start off with college football. Let's see. Scrolling through the games here. I gotta be honest. I'm not really prepared. Let's find a good one. Man, there's not really a whole lot of good games this week.
The games in college football this week are horrible. Georgia and Alabama game 2 versus 3.
Yeah.
That'll be a good game. I have Georgia winning that game. Alabama's favored by 4. But I have Georgia winning the game by 4.
Where's game day?
This is Petrick's bets of the week. Put your money on Georgia.
Where's game day?
Where's game day? It's gotta be Tuscaloosa. It's gotta be.
Well, I mean, we also thought it was going to be in Auburn, but it's
gotta be. This is 2 versus 3. You don't miss 2 versus 3. So, Bama.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, looking at the skit. Yeah.
So I got 3 games here for you. We'll get to that
done
game
with Petrick's bet of the week.
All right.
Hey, real quick. Bob Betts. Or just Georgia, Alabama. Who are we all taking?
Georgia.
Bama.
Going Georgia.
Thank you.
Oh.
Will and I. Ryan and Will were in sync last week. Will and I in sync this week.
We are.
Hammer Georgia as the underdog to definitely cover.
I feel like I'm going to regret
and
that.
a win.
I feel like I'm going to regret that.
If you're looking at Georgia, Alabama, I have a feeling that Ryan's going to talk about it in a second.
Yeah.
Ryan, take her away.
All right, so I'll start with another SEC matchup, Kentucky, Tennessee. Tennessee picked by 6, and I really, really like that spread. I like that. Tennessee to win. No, don't say anything. Louisville, Notre Dame by 17. I like Louisville to cover and Notre Dame to win. So bet on that Louisville team plus 17. I like that. Next, Texas A&M, Mississippi State. A&M minus 4.5. I like that bet. Coming off a win against Florida. I like A&M. And lastly, Georgia and Bama. Bama by 4.5. And I like Bama to win the game. Where's it at?
Bama.
Yeah, at home.
Tuscaloosa.
That's what I'm saying. I might regret that, but I'm going to stick with
Bama
Georgia.
at home. All right, by 4.5. They're going by 7 or 10 points.
Notable for that game, Nick Saban will not be on the sideline, diagnosed with COVID positive. So it's going to be Steve Sarkisian. That's kind of the go-between between Saban and the booth and the team on the field. We know how his 10-year win at USC, it was not good. So that's why.
Right.
Add that on top of the fact that Georgia's been solid all season so far. Defense, rushing, passing, complete game down in Athens. I'm taking Georgia. And I just want to throw a little thing behind the other 2 games that he talked about. Kentucky held Mississippi State to only 2 points last week. So it's definitely going to be Texas A&M, but I think you're underrating.
No, Tennessee.
No, it's going to be Texas A&M against Mississippi State. Texas A&M is going to win that game.
Texas A&M.
That was the second game you talked about.
Kentucky and Tennessee.
Yeah, Kentucky played Mississippi State last season.
Yeah.
Or last week. Last week. Held them to 2 points total. That's all they got.
Okay.
Was outgained. Mississippi State outgained Kentucky by 100 yards, and they only got 2 points. Kentucky scored 28.
So you think Kentucky's going to beat Tennessee?
No.
Okay.
No, definitely not. They're not a very good team.
So what are you saying?
It's a fun fact, but I'm just saying, this is more putting a little bit of weight behind your Texas A&M pick. I think Texas A&M, good pick.
Yeah.
Isaiah Spiller's got it going on. Rushed for 174 yards last week.
Yeah.
I'm just regurgitating Safe Saturdays you at this point. But this has been Bets' Bents of the Week with...
Whoa. I got plenty more for you. NFL, NASCAR.
You have no performance.
Ouch. That's rough. That's cold.
Not-
Ethan wants
All right.
cans. He's ready to leave.
I just want to say one NFL game here.
Okay.
Packers and Bucks. That's a pick game.
Packers.
Bucks.
Bucks.
Go with the Bucks here. It's at Florida, right? Yeah, it's a Tampa Bay home game.
Oh yeah, real powerful crowd there always.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely.
You hear every NFL interview. Hey,
Tampa-
Tom, what's the hardest place to play? Oh, Mercedes-Benz Superdome down in New Orleans. They're loud. Up at CenturyLink in Seattle, it's always a tough environment. But Tampa Bay, just
They got the big pirate
Crazy.
ship. They got
Right.
the pirate ship, man.
pirate
That's
ship.
intimidating.
I am just scared.
Tampa Bay's fan base is probably the most energized in the whole.
Right now they
the
are,
whole
'cause they
country.
actually have a winning
Exactly.
record.
Exactly.
Yeah,
And they're just scary because they're Florida people. And like Florida people scare me.
I don't think the crowd factors into a Vegas odds line on Tampa Bay games ever.
When it's in Florida, it does because Florida's just Florida. Florida man's coming out for that game.
And Green Bay's undefeated, right?
Not for long.
They are correct.
And Tampa Bay's got 2 losses.
Yeah.
So if it's a pick game with a 2-loss Tampa Bay team against an undefeated Green Bay Packers team with Aaron Rodgers, and it's a pick. So you think the home team would, in Vegas odds, would give them that advantage and a pick spread?
Well, if you switched it and it was in Lambeau, it'd be a 3.5 point game.
Yeah, by the Packers.
Right. So they're getting 3.5. I'm assuming they're getting like 3.5 points for it being in Florida, but I don't anticipate
Okay.
it. You could pull up.
Well, you know what? Watch the game, and you're gonna see the crowd standing up in
Yeah.
their
You could pull up a
seats, so.
picture of a normal Tampa Bay Buccaneers home game in like recent years, and you'd be like, "Oh, that was during COVID, right?" No, they're social distancing always.
All right, moving on to my favorite sport, NASCAR. This weekend, we're at Kansas Speedway, and that is the home track to Clint Boyer. I like Clint Boyer in this race. He's never won, but he's definitely, my sleeper pick to win. His odds 50-1. Let me see. Kyle Busch 14-1. He won once there, 2016. My guy Joey Logano won twice, most recently in 2015. His odds 14-1. Blaney, his best finish third, 11-1 odds. Again, that Penske trio is going to be dangerous this weekend at Kansas because we got Brad Keselowski 8-1 odds. Best finish first twice and recently in 2019. But a favorite to win, Denny Hamlin. He's finished at Kansas Speedway first 3 times and most recently this summer of 2020. So if you like the favorite, go with Denny Hamlin. If you don't, Clint Boyer. And if you're a fan of this segment, go with my guy Joey Logano. And that will wrap up Big Ben's Bets of the Week.
Good timing.
As we wrap up Benz's Bets of the Week, we're going to be wrapping up the show as well. You guys can catch me on Offsides on Monday at 2 or Take Out Tuesday also at 2. You can catch Ryan on Drive to the Greens. That'll be airing Wednesday at 2. And as always, will be holding down the fort on Boston Bias, coming out on Friday or Thursday at 2. And always Take Out Tuesday at 2. So be sure to check those guys out. Check those shows out. And as always,
Safe Saturdays.